Welcome to Ditch Auto. My name's Jared, and I have the Sony FE 90mm F2.8 macro lens. This is a lens that I pre-ordered when it first came out because as a past Canon shooter, my macro lens, my 100mm 2.8 macro lens was one of my favorite lenses. And then switching over to Sony mirrorless, I didn't have a macro lens. And as I'm sure most of you are aware, the minimum point of focus on most of the Sony full frame mirrorless lenses is not that fantastic. So I'm super excited about this macro lens. I thought I would unbox it and just kind of take a first look at it, and then I'll spend some time with the lens and I'll come back and do a formal review of the lens. So like most Sony lenses, orange box, information packets, plural. And the lens is nicely wrapped and also comes in a nice protective case, which I haven't really found these protective cases to be super useful just because they're, the camera bags these days are really nice and protect the lenses really well. So when I first saw this lens pictured online, I thought, oh man, it is a large lens. I mean, this is not a whole lot smaller than the 70-200. It is quite a large lens, but what I do really like about it is that it does have the ability to turn on and off the optical steady shot, and then it also has a couple of the macro adjustments here on the lens as well, so that you can change that minimal point of focus, or at least that's how I typically use it. So 90mm is a good range because most of the other lenses that I have are a bit shorter than that. I have my 70-200, but all of my other lenses at this time are 55, well, I guess I have the 24-70, but 55mm or less. So having something that's a little bit further out on the spectrum, I think is really good. I love the fact that this has a very large focus ring. Most of these Sony lenses are small focus rings, but when you're using a macro lens, I'm typically shooting at a, probably gonna be at an f2.8 so that I can get the shallow depth of field, and then I'm using manual focus so that I could find the focal point that I'm looking for, as opposed to letting the camera guess and maybe not necessarily nail that focus the way that I would have liked. So this lens being at 90mm and also f2.8, notice here that I can shift this back and forth and go from manual focus to autofocus. That's gonna be huge because especially if you're a nature photographer and you have your shot framed up and you were shooting in autofocus and you wanna dip over to manual focus really quick, or maybe go the other way around, it's just simply sliding back on the focus wheel a little bit and you could feel it disengage and re-engage. You could see the ring here. When you're in autofocus, that doesn't move. When you slide in, it re-engages. And then you also have the button on the side to hold focus, so that if you are in that autofocus mode, you don't accidentally slip away from whatever you're focused on by hitting the shutter button on your camera. Another way to get away from that is to actually just use back button focus, get rid of the fact that your shutter pre-focuses, and just use a back button to grab focus. That's my preferred method. So it's a really nice looking lens. It is a little heavy. We're used to these lightweight lenses, except for the 70-200, which is a little heavier for the size of the camera body. This is a hefty lens. So I'm excited to use this lens. I'm actually gonna be going on vacation and taking this with me. So one of the things that I will definitely be doing is spending some time taking pictures with this macro lens. I'm super excited that it got here finally, and I have some weddings coming up this summer that I'll be excited to use this for those ring shots and getting flower photos and stuff like that. And then I'm even excited to see how it performs as a portrait lens, because there were many times that I was using my macro lens, that macro 100 that I had from Canon, as a portrait lens. It just produced extremely sharp, beautiful images. So we'll be back soon with a recap on this and a review of this lens, along with some example photos. So thanks for checking out this video on Ditch Auto, and subscribe for more videos, and we'll see you back next time.